Hey everyone, and welcome back to FSI DFS. I am McKinley412, and today we're going to be breaking down the Sunday main afternoon slate. We do have a large slate ahead of us here. However, no weather concerns at the moment. Obviously, I'm recording this the night before, as you can see, so make sure you're keeping up to the minute on any weather changes that might be occurring, and also make sure you're paying attention to any of the COVID-related news. You never know when a game is going to be postponed after the slate locks, or if a couple guys get taken out because of positive tests or just safety protocols. So let's just dive right into this here. Corbin Burnes right up at the top, 10.4K. He's got the out next to him. I was looking, there's no official word on if he actually is starting or not tomorrow. You can kind of see in the notes here, he had an absence due to health and safety protocols. So it's unsure if he's actually going to be going tomorrow or on Sunday. He is facing the Dodgers, but Burnes is having a phenomenal season. He's had 9 or more strikeouts in every single start. He's yet to have a walk. It's just incredible what he's doing. At 10.4K, he's facing the Dodgers, and that is slightly concerning just because of that price tag going against that strong offense. But he still certainly has to be in play for you with his ceiling that he provides. However, I do like the guy below him much better here, Max Scherzer. Now, Scherzer's had a very strange season. He's allowing quite a bit of runs, but as you can see, it's off of the home run. He's allowed 22 hits this season, and 6 of those 22, so 27%, have been the home run ball. So over 1 out of every 4 hits that are going against him are going over the fence, which is just unreal. But the good thing for us here is he's going up against Miami, and Miami cannot hit the long ball. They are a bottom 3 team in home runs generated this season. They are dead last in slugging percentage, and they are a bottom 5 team in ISO. So they are struggling with the long ball. They also have a bunch of injuries in their roster. And now we get Max Scherzer under 10K. So I think Scherzer should be the number 1 option. I'm going to say I like him even more than Burnes at this rate or at this point. So Max Scherzer, clear number 1. Javier, he's had a fantastic start to the season as well, going up against Tampa Bay, who likes to strike out a lot, but they can provide some power. I have no concerns with Javier at all, but just kind of looking at where he's priced, you're either going up 300 to Scherzer, or there's a better option down here in Giolito. Urias, fine play, kind of same thing. Giolito, if you would have told me that I could get Giolito at 8.6K, against a bottom half offense who's known to throw up an absolute dud of an offensive game, I would have been sign me up. And that's kind of where I am at here. I'm loving Giolito at 8.6K. His stats are a little skewed here, or a lot skewed, because of that game that he had in Boston. Negative 17 points. That's just incredible. So he bounced back against the Detroit team. Obviously, you want more than 16 points as a starting pitcher going against that bad Detroit offense. But we know what Giolito's capable of. We know what his strikeout rate can be. So at 8.6, I think he's a great play here. Much better than Berrios. Anderson playing in that small ballpark down in Florida with Toronto. Plesac, he's just a disaster. I'll get into him later with the bats. Kluber's not really striking anybody out this season. He doesn't have a single game with more than 5 strikeouts. He's going against Detroit, who is tops in the league at strikeout rate with their bats. So he might eclipse that 5K mark on Sunday here, but he's not able to get deep into games. He might have been on a pitch count earlier in the season, and that's kind of been lifted as he throws up 2 games over 90. But so I think he's in play, but I like the guy right below him even better, Rogers. Rogers has been phenomenal this season. He's got a 34% K rate. He had a 30% K rate last season, so it's not a fluke that he's striking out this many batters. So 7, 8, 7, 10, 6. He's just a great play. And he's $500 cheaper than he was last time that he started, even though he put up 28 points. So I love Rogers in this spot. He's going to be definitely in consideration, especially for cash if I need some extra savings. Molly, you can make a case for him. He's done well so far this season. He strikes out. He's got the strikeout potential. He's going up against a Chicago team that does strike out a lot. He's done well at home, honestly. Look at that, 18 Ks and 11 innings pitched. So the ballpark factor doesn't seem to be affecting him too much here. So I think you can make a case for him. He's got a 2,000 price discount compared to where he was. And I think this is where more in line where he should be, either here or kind of in the low 8K range. Everybody else, I don't really have any interest in. I mean, maybe you can make a case for Richards. He's got a strong offense behind him, so he's got that win bonus possibly there. He's facing a Texas team that strikes out a lot, and we see what his ceiling can be. Just in his last start out, 33 DK points, 10 Ks over 7 innings against the Mets. But we also know what his floor can be, and that's why he's priced at 7.1. So you got to make sure that you're kind of weighing all these things and taking them all into consideration when you're building. Rogers is right there, only 800 more. But if you desperately need those $800 for your bats, Richards, you can make a case for him here. Let's just turn to the bats. I'll review everything here at the end, as I always do, just to kind of wrap things up. But first bats that I'm going to be targeting here is Cincinnati. I love the Cincinnati offense at home. They are a completely different offense at home than they are on the road. At home, they are averaging 7.8 runs a game, which is just absurd. We're a month into the season. It's not like a 3-game sample size here. We're a month into the season, and they're averaging close to 8 runs a game at home. On the road, totally different story. On the road, they're averaging something like 2.6 or 2.8 runs a game. It's anemic. So it's pretty incredible how different they are at home. Obviously, the park factor does come into play, and the pitchers that they're going up against. Now they're going up against Williams for Chicago, who has had a decent start to the season. There's no denying that. The stats back it up. However, if you look back to what he did last season, he allowed the most home runs as a starting pitcher in the entire major leagues. So he can give up the long ball. I'm not convinced just yet in a couple of starts that he's been able to completely get rid of that flaw in his game. So I'm loving Cincinnati here. Like I said, with that ballpark upgrade, with how they have been hitting at home, I think I saw the Cincinnati ballpark is the #1 ballpark for home runs so far this season. So you have the history of Williams letting up the long ball, leading the majors last year and giving up the long ball. And maybe his start this season, his decent start, is going to reduce the Cincinnati ownership a little bit, which I'd be more than okay with. So loving Cincinnati, loving the lefties. Votto, I don't know if Winker's going to be back, but he'd be great. Barnhart, Moustakas, all great options there. The other team that I'm going to be targeting is or playing for the bats is the White Sox. Love the White Sox. I went on a deep dive into why I thought they were a great offense against McKenzie on Saturday, and I'm glad I did because they paid off for it. So I'm going to go back to the well here with the White Sox going against Plesac. Plesac has faced them twice so far this season, and in both starts, the White Sox have put up 6 runs on Plesac alone, and then totaled a couple more runs onto that Cleveland bullpen. So clearly, they have this guy's number. I just think they're a great play. The wind, again, is blowing out. They're looking for some up to 20-mile-an-hour winds blowing out in Chicago. So I just think they're another solid option here. Now, Cincinnati and the White Sox are fairly expensive in the bats. So if you want to go somebody cheaper, I like Pittsburgh as well. Pittsburgh backs are cheaper, and they're going up against Carlos Martinez. Now, if you've been paying attention to these videos or following along, you know I am targeting Carlos Martinez every start that he plays this season, and I've been doing it for quite some time. He can shut teams down. Like, he's a solid pitcher, but at the same time, he can absolutely get blown up. So I like to target him in GPPs every time, just in case he has one of those blow up games. And the Pittsburgh bats are relatively cheap. Reynolds at 4.8, pricey. Moran at 4.5, and Frazier at 4.4. But then you start getting right down into the mid-3 and the low-3 range with the rest of their guys. So if you're a batter versus pitcher stats guy, I'm not. I don't put too much behind the batter versus pitcher stats. But if you do, you're going to love Polanco. Polanco has some crazy career numbers against Martinez. So at 3.5, plug them into your lines there. So just to kind of recap everything, pitcher-wise, make sure you're paying attention to see if Burns is playing. If he is, he's a fine option. But for me, I like Scherzer even better, going against the Miami team, who can't really damage him with the long ball, which has really been the only thing hurting him this season. Javier, solid option, but either go up to Scherzer, or if you already have Scherzer, just bump down to a guy like Giolito or down to Rogers for cash. GPP, obviously Javier is right in there with his K upside. I like Kluber. He's probably gonna be lower owned just because he hasn't had that strikeout rate of years past, but he's going against Detroit. Molly, he's got that K upside going against the high K team in Chicago, and maybe being in that small ballpark will put some people off of him. And if you really need the savings, heading down to Garrett Richards for GPP. Bats, I love Cincinnati, I love the Chicago White Sox, and I love Pittsburgh. Obviously, I like the Yankees bats and the Boston bats as well, but give me Cincinnati, the Chicago White Sox, and the Pittsburgh bats ahead of them there. So that kind of wraps things up. As always, drop a comment below, hit that thumbs up button, give us a comment what you like, what you don't like. We love reading all the comments that you guys have been giving us. We appreciate all the feedback. Hop into our Discord. It's free. Yeah, we have a bunch of free rooms. The MLB room is premium. It's very affordable though. But in that room, we give you all the cores. We answer any questions that you guys might have, and kind of guide you along to what we think the optimal lineups are going to be. So good luck in your contest today, and I'll see you guys again on Monday. Take care.